Are you ready to buy a house, but you're not quite sure how to get started? Well, don't worry, I've got you covered. In this video, we're going to walk through the two most important first steps in your home buying journey. Let's make this process smooth and easy. If this is your first time visiting the channel, and if you want to know everything there is about the Houston market and living in Houston, Texas, then subscribe below and tap the bell. That way you'll be among the first to know about the Houston market and Houston's best real estate. By the way, my name is Michael Hughes. I'm a Texas real estate broker and a Texas real estate attorney of more than 20 years. And along with my wife and business partner, Carol Hughes, we help folks just like you buy and sell Houston's best real estate. To get a good start on purchasing a home, there are two critical steps that have to be handled right off the bat. One of them, selecting the right real estate agent to guide you through the process. And the second one, getting a hold of your finances. Now, both of them are equally important, but let's talk first about selecting the right real estate agent to guide you through this process of purchasing a home. You may have heard this said before, but it is completely true. Having the right real estate agent at your side makes all the difference between a nice, smooth, professional home buying experience and a complete nightmare. Buying a home is unlike any other purchase that you're likely to make. It's completely different from buying a car or buying a computer or a cool new pair of shoes or anything else that you're likely to do. First, the amount of money in purchasing a home is so much higher than any other transaction that you're likely to make. That alone ratchets up the seriousness of it. And secondly, there are a ton of rules, regulations, and laws that go along with purchasing a home that you may or may not be aware of. All of these rules and laws change frequently, so what may have been the case a few years back may not be the rule today. Statistics tells us that on average, a person is going to move or purchase a home every 7 years, give or take. But that is plenty of time for the process to change completely and for the rules to be amended or have new rules in place that weren't there before. With all of that going on in the background, it is very important to have the right real estate professional at your side. So what should you look for in a real estate professional? Well, professionalism, competency, dedication to achieving your goals. Review their qualifications, their education, and their previous sales experience. Don't be afraid or embarrassed to interview several real estate agents before making your final decision. After all, this is a big decision. Now look, we both know that there are dozens of real estate agents out there everywhere you look. Sometimes it seems like you wouldn't be able to throw a rock without hitting 3 or 4 agents. And many of those are probably going to be close family members or friends of yours who are going to expect you to utilize their services solely because of that relationship. And if that's what you want to do, then that's fine. But I have to say that over the years, I have seen those kind of arrangements end badly for the client on many occasions. And not to put too sharp of a point on it, but when that happens, in addition to a difficult transaction, you end up with estranged family members and maybe busted friendships. With so much money at stake and something as important as your home, it's important to remain objective and to choose the real estate professional who has the best qualifications and who is going to be the best fit for you in obtaining your real estate goals. Now, in addition to all of that, there are 2 other key components, and that is finding the right personality match in an agent and communication. For personality, you want to make sure that the agent's personality meshes well with yours. After all, you're going to be working closely with this person for several weeks, maybe even months, finding the perfect home for you. So you want to make sure there's a good mesh of the personalities between you and them. And finally, communication. Would you believe that one of the most prevalent complaints made against real estate agents is lack of communication? Unbelievable. In a transaction like this, with so much at stake, radio silence from your agent is simply not acceptable. It is very important to have a discussion about communication styles. How do you prefer the agent communicate with you? Are you a phone call person? Are you a text person? Or are you an email person? Or are you a combination of all of these? How often do you want to hear from your real estate agent? Having these expectations set out in a conversation will go a long way towards avoiding misunderstandings down the road. So that's step one, finding the right real estate agent for you. If you have any questions about that step, or if you want to talk about it further, then feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to talk about that with you anytime it's convenient for you. The second first step is every bit as important as finding a right agent, and that is financing. Getting a hold of your household budget, understanding where your financial comfort zone lies, and ultimately getting a pre-approval letter from a reputable lender. Well, what if you're paying cash for the house? And if so, hey, awesome, congratulations. But what you need to know is that there are a ton of federal laws that go along with handling large amounts of cash. The escrow officer is going to need to trace the source of all of that money in order to comply with those federal laws. And another thing, where is the money located right now? Is it in a U.S. bank, or is it maybe in a wad of 20s hidden in the mattress? Big difference, right? You'd be surprised. I've seen it happen. The point here is that buying a home for cash is much more complicated than just showing up and writing a check, or doing something like trying to show up to the closing with a suitcase full of bills. By the way, don't do that. I know, it looks cool in the movies. Just don't. If you're like most folks, then you're going to be financing part of the home purchase, and that means getting approval from a lender. Now, the first steps of that process are things that you can do at your desk or at your kitchen table, and they involve getting a handle on the monthly household budget, the analysis of income, savings, and debt that's going on in the family finances. Carol and I are happy to help you with this process if it seems overwhelming at first, but ultimately you're going to need to have a grasp on a few things before you contact the lender. Things like how much is available in savings for the down payment and the closing costs. Calculating what is the monthly income to the house versus the monthly expenses of the household, and how much money is left over at the end of the month after all the expenses are paid. These first steps are going to be very important because they're going to help you narrow down your property search to consider only those homes that are within your financial comfort zone. It helps to make sure that you're not shooting too low in your home search, settling for a home when you could afford more. And on the other end of that, it's going to help to prevent heartbreak down the road. There is nothing worse than getting your heart set on a home only to discover later on that the budget simply will not support that price point. Once you've done the number crunching and you've got a good idea of the household budget, amount of savings, things like that, then we can move on to getting an idea of what your credit score is and starting the process of gathering required documentation. Hey, did you know not all credit scores are created equal? Different creditors have different methods of calculating one person's credit score for different purposes. So for example, want to apply for a credit card? Well, the credit card company has one method of calculating your credit score. Want to buy a car? The car lender has another method for calculating your credit score. And yep, you guessed it, mortgage lenders have yet another algorithm that they use when they're calculating your credit score or your FICO score for a mortgage application. Now, why is this important? Well, many of the popular websites that people use to obtain their credit scores do not calculate it for the purposes of a mortgage application. They're looking more along the lines of credit card applications or maybe auto applications, auto loans, things like that. And as a result, that can cause your credit score to be inaccurate when you're trying to use it for purposes of understanding a mortgage application. Now, Carol and I have resources available that will help you pull your own credit score, but using the algorithm that is closest to what the mortgage lenders use when they're pulling your credit report. So it gives you a more accurate score for the purposes of a mortgage application. Get in touch with us. We are happy to share that with you and talk with you about that process. Generally speaking, most lenders are going to be looking for a credit score of 620 or higher. Now, that's not to say that you're just out of luck if your credit score doesn't meet that number. There are programs out there that can work with challenged credit scores. But as a general rule, the further below 620 the score goes, the more difficult it's going to be to get an approval, and the higher the interest rate you're going to be paying on the loan, at least at the outset. So once we have an idea of the credit score, now we can start the process of gathering up all of the documentation that you're going to need in order to submit a mortgage application. At a minimum, you should be prepared with PDF copies of your last 2 months worth of pay stubs, if you're working a W-2 job that gives you pay stubs, your last 2 full years tax returns with all the schedules and everything, the complete package. You'll need the last 2 months worth of your bank statements, and you're going to need copies of identification documents like your driver's license, your social security card, things like that. Well, now that we've done a lot of the legwork behind the scenes, now we're going to move on to the next critical step, and that is selecting the right lender. Choosing the right lender is every bit as important as choosing the right real estate agent. This is going to be the person that guides you through the financing process. They're going to be dealing with the underwriters. They're going to be working on your behalf to get your loan approved. In my experience, the best results come from utilizing a lender with experience in the local market and a proven track record of getting mortgage applications to the closing table. But whomever you choose, you're going to want a lender with knowledge and experience in multiple loan programs that might work in your individual circumstances, such as the VA loan program, the FHA loan program, USDA loan program, adjustable rate loan products, as well as the good old 30-year fixed rate conventional loan. It's always a good idea to get information from and even interview several lenders before you make your final choice. Compare their products, pricing, rates, and any possible incentives. Okay, well now you've chosen the right real estate agent for you. You've chosen the right lender for you. Now it's time for the fun stuff, house hunting. And we're going to cover that in a different video. But those are the first 2 critical steps in your home buying process. Finding the right real estate agent, it should be Carol or me, and finding the right lender. Once you've done that, you're ready to start looking at houses. Now, whether you're looking to make a move next week, next month, or even next year, Carol and I would love to help make your next home purchase smooth and worry-free. So click on the link below to set up a one-on-one Zoom consultation. Or, of course, you can always give us a call, shoot us a text, or send us an email. We are never too busy to hear from you, and we are looking forward to helping you buy or sell Houston's best real estate.